Welcome channel members to the video brought to you by Jamie and
Seb.
You asked for a video all about repairs. I used to do all my own repairs, but then Zeb came home and now occasionally I use wood glue and he fixes all the things. So stay tuned, he's going to show you some tips and tricks to help you fix your broken finds or your furniture at home.
Furniture repair is kind of a tricky thing. There's not just a set way to go about doing it. And a lot of times it requires a lot of different tools to get the job done. The way I approach furniture repair is, how quick can I get it done? Is it gonna be a sturdy fix? What's it look like cosmetically? Am I painting this or am I staining this? All of those things matter. In the last video, Jamie talked about this nozzle for the air hose. If you don't have an air compressor, I would highly recommend putting that on your list of things you want. There's a ton of different tools you can use, and it really speeds up your process on a lot of things, especially painting. Anyway, so this air nozzle, we've got this dusty drawer. Dust is all gone, and we can go to work and it's easy. So this drawer has a few issues. Someone's nailed across the back here. That's fine, but it's slipped out of its slot here. Just gonna take a slotted screwdriver, lift up carefully right here by the nails, pliers. The hammer would also work with this, but I'm probably going to reuse these little nails, so I don't want to twist them as they're coming out. Alright, now this should hopefully slide right out. Okay, my drawer's a little wobbly. So you can see this used to have a little bit of tongue and groove on here, and that's been pushed away over the years. There's nails and all kinds of fun things in there. I'm gonna get rid of all of those. Same on this side. Now, this little drawer goes to a big hutch. To me, that makes it worth fixing because it's gonna complete the piece. The hutch will probably sell for around $400 when we're all done. About $395, I think, is what we'll ask for it. So if it takes me a little time to do this repair, it'll be okay. It's just a small tiny little drawer. That many nails is actually probably going to degrade the quality of the wood and weaken it. So we're gonna see if we can get this all back together with some glue. Sometimes you get old furniture apart and you're like, what was going on? This drawer front doesn't even go with the sides. We'll see once we get it back together what it looks like. But I'm just gonna glue these on here. And I don't think I showed you these. These are my longer clamps. This is a 24-inch clamp, and this is a 32-inch clamp, and these are great for drawer repair. So I've got everything cleaned off. All the old glue is cleaned up. I'm going to glue these back on. I may have to put some mechanical fasteners on here, i.e. staples, screws, nails, something in the side here like they had, but I'm not going to put nearly as many, probably just 2 nails. So while that's gluing up, I've also cleaned up this back section here. You never know what you're gonna find. Sometimes people piece things together to make them work. This drawer has been pieced together from at least 2 other drawers. And I'm gonna slot this in here so that it stays nice and square while the drawer face glues up. Okay, so the bottom is going back in, no glue on this. There was nothing at the front of the drawer holding the bottom of the drawer steady where it needed to be. So I've just got a couple little scrap pieces of cedar fencing that I'm going to just slip right in there and glue to the bottom of this and the front. And that will hold that nice and tight. If I've got a little lip afterwards, I'll just sand that flush with the face of the drawer. While the drawer's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and frame up this sign that Jamie did on the live video a couple days ago and show you how I do that with a hammer and finish nails, but also with the pneumatic nail gun. So just a couple little shims down here to kind of give me height because I want a little bit of gap for the nail to hang on to in the back. I've got 1.5 inch nails loaded up in my nailer. This is 18 gauge. This is the one I get from Harbor Freight. They're about $30. You can also order them off of Amazon if you don't have a Harbor Freight near you. I'm running it right at 90 psi. Okay, if you're gonna go into sign making, you need to get one of these. Super quick and easy. We can still do it old school way with just some finish nails. Let me get my shim out. Just make sure that I'm right on my depth here before I put that second nail in. This is that little cabinet we picked up for $3. It was missing the inset, probably a mirror or piece of glass in there. Just a Phillips screwdriver. I'm gonna take the old brackets out that used to hold the mirror in. And just showing you the hand tools, you can get a lot of work done with them. The power tools will definitely speed your workflow up. But everyone's got to start somewhere. If we're going to be replacing glass with anything, we like to use hardware cloth. It gives it a fun farmhouse look and it's fairly inexpensive. You can find it in the garden section of most hardware stores. So just got my side cutters and I'm going to cut it out to this insert section here. All right, if I'm doing a big piece, I'll use my angle grinder to just zip down along here. But this is small, so I'm just going to use the side cutters on it. If you've got a big project, a $20, $30 angle grinder will save your forearms. So I've got 1/2 inch staples in the pneumatic staple / nailer, and I'm going to go in kind of at an angle because I don't want them blowing through. I'm right there at the 1/2 inch mark on this. Flip it over, look, nothing came through. Got the dreaded handheld stapler out, but it does the work. Now I gotta take that back off so Jamie can paint it. The drawer's been sitting gluing up for about 2 hours now. I'm gonna go ahead and take the clamps off. Usually you're good to take clamps off after about an hour. It takes 24 hours for the glue to fully cure. Just wanted to show you, it's nice and sturdy. It's not perfect, it was pieced together from different drawers before I ever got it, but it'll be nice and strong from here on out. I was thinking about putting some nails right here just to hold that. I'm gonna probably do 1 and 1 instead of 18 per side. And that's ready to go. The next thing I wanted to show you was doors. So on like a cabinet door like this one here is split up at the top right here, and it's starting to come apart right here at this joint. So I'm gonna show you how to fix this without using screws. Screws are okay, but on something like this, if you glue a dowel in here, it's gonna last you a lot longer. All right, so you can see this is cracking and splitting and it's starting to get pretty weak. And I could probably run a screw down through there if I wanted to, but I feel like the dowel for opening and closing, and this is the back side where the hinge goes, I feel like the dowel is gonna end up being a lot stronger fix and will get this a lot more years of use. I've got a 3/8 inch drill bit in here, and I'm just gonna find the center and run it down through. Careful not to hit the glass. You don't wanna go down so deep that you're gonna be getting into the glass. All right, tight bond 2, I'm gonna put a healthy amount down in the bottom and kind of run it around both sides and let it drain down both sides. And then I will run this dowel in. I'm gonna pound this in until it bottoms. And it's okay if it's a tight fit like that, you want it to be tight. Jamie was teasing me for my coping saw, and you could totally do this with different kinds of saws, but this is the perfect application for something like this. All right, zipped off, nice and flush. You see how fast that cut? Didn't have to get a big old heavy saw out, and I'll just sand that smooth with a little wood glue, and you could even stain over that and try to match this color stain if you wanted to. And this could be used for pretty much any kind of joint. If you get a table or a chair or a dresser and you want to continue to have the stain on there, run something like this down in. It's going to look a lot better than a screw. So I put a little bit of glue down in this crack here, and this is where the little dollar spring clamp comes into play. It's going to work really well to hold that nice and tight. And then when that dries, I'll just sand everything down flush and we'll paint it. On this very same door that's having all the issues, where the hinges go these holes are all wallered out, and I would have to put a really big screw that won't allow the door to close right to fill in that gap. So what I'm gonna do is I've got a 3/16 drill bit, and I'm gonna make sure that that hole is drilled out to that size. Now I've got the 3/16 dowel. We're gonna give this little coping saw a workout today. You can change the angle of the blade just a little bit so that that's not in the way and still saw that really nice and flat. When the glue's dry on the dowels, I'll be able to put new screws down on the hinges, and that'll be as strong as it ever was. Jamie picked up this fun little side table quite a while ago. It was built out of 3/4 inch plywood, but this foot has some pretty serious issues. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this scrap piece of MDF and cut a piece to fit right here that's missing. Coping saw back at it here. I need to get this piece flush. This is where the repair is gonna sit. I need it to be nice and flush and flat. So I've just got my chisel and a rubber mallet. I'm gonna just take a little bit off right here. That way I have something to glue to. All right, I'm just gonna trace this along. It's got some fun little detail down here. Now I've got the pattern I need to cut. My nail was too long in my staple gun. I actually did it on purpose so that I could show you how to fix something like this. Clip that off. Got my file back out. You can use some DAP lightweight patch and paint. And when this gets painted, you won't even know those holes were there. You could also use all-purpose Bondo if you want it. That also works really well. One of the most common things I come across is a chair with missing rungs and needing repairs. This chair is actually pretty old, and our neighbor gave it to us for free. Up top right here, it's got a gap and it's loose and coming apart. If I can pull that all the way apart and get glue in there without breaking one of the joints down here, I will. If I can't, I'll put glue on there as good as I can, clamp that together. I may have to put another dowel like I did on the door in through here. The seat frame here is actually in pretty good shape. It's not loose, everything's good. I've got this broken leg here that needs glued. I might rip that off, glue it, and then clamp it back together. It would be better than to just pull it off and re-glue it than kind of getting glue down there and not having a good glue up. There you go, I broke it. Now it's worse, but not really. I'll get that glue in there and we'll be good to go. First things first, I can get this open wide enough without breaking this down here. So I'm gonna just get a good amount of glue on there. It's probably gonna dribble down because I'm putting more than I need to so that it gets in the gap and works in there. But just wanna wipe that off when you can. All right, so that's on there now. This is the same clamp I used on the drawer earlier. And I'm gonna clamp that down nice and tight. Just wiping off the excess glue so I don't have to fight with it later. Lots of glue in that too. And I'm also going to use a long clamp on this one. I get these clamps from Harbor Freight, so they're fairly inexpensive. I think these longer ones are like $8, $9. Not bad. Okay. I'm going to clamp that down. Make sure everything is kind of lined up where it's supposed to be. I'm also going to clamp this way. You saw it pressed all that glue out of there, so we did have a bit of a gap. I found a loose joint right here when I was moving stuff around, probably because the brace is gone on the bottom. So I'm going to clamp that up real nice too. While everything up top is clamping up, we've got this one good support down below. There's supposed to be one going across right there, and then one that goes across in the middle right through there. So there are some angles going on right here. I've got a 3/4 piece of oak. You want to use a piece of hardwood. Pine probably isn't going to cut it to span that and give you any kind of strength. So I've got my oak here, and I'm just going to mark kind of where everything's at. It's at an angle, so you got to kind of work with it. It's not a straight flush cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it straight, and then I will probably use a sander to get the angle I need until it fits up nicely on that other one. But this will give me my overall length that I need. I could use the miter saw, but this is going to work right here. Nice cut. Done. So I'm looking at the angle here, and it's parallel, so that they could keep this kind of wider out front and narrower in the back. And I'm going to use the sander to take off this corner, and I'll do the same thing on this back end. I could do the cuts, but I'm going to just fit it as I go, and we'll hope we get it close. That is actually really close right there. If I just put them in, slide them in right there. I'm just cutting out the old dowel, making sure that that's nice and flush there. Liberal amounts of glue, both ends. Fit up's where I like it. I'm going to move this clamp that I had holding the top tight and move it down. This is the front leg on the front here, and I'm going to run a 1/2 inch hole right through here into the support. I've got a little mark on my drill that makes a black line so I know where my depth is at. Alright, lots of glue. Okay, now that that's in, this part here is easy. I can just take my pencil and mark the exact place I need to cut at the angle I need to cut. The chair is all clamped up right now. I'll probably leave the clamps on it for 24 hours since it was so broken and had so many joints that had come loose. But I've done a lot of repairs like this in the past. I'm confident it'll be nice and sturdy and get a lot more life out of that now that it's all glued up and repaired. Hopefully this video helped you out and kind of gave you some ideas on how to repair joints and things, which are usually the biggest problem. If it's something I didn't cover in the video and you're having trouble with a fix or a repair, I tried to cover stuff in this video that I hadn't done in other videos before. So hit me up, we may have a video on it. I can direct you to that and fix that free stuff. The free stuff is always what needs the most repairs.